equal and the same. Hammer and Hank, 8-8 strong. CPS break it, bomb drop it. Rough, rough. Yo, we equal and the same. No chains on our name. CPS devils trying to play their game. Hammer and Hank swinging hard, breaking the frame. Fighting for rights, ain't no one to blame. The warriors, people with disabilities rise. Equal protection under the laws, wise eyes. They try to divide, say we ain't the same. But on the podcast, we expose the shame. Equal and the same. We fighting CPAs. Hammer Hank leads. Ada unbreakable. Equal and the same. Drop the bomb news. People with disabilities. We own the truth. Growling at the system, they labeling Cade. But Hammer and Hank flips the page with rage. Part ass exploding like a breaking news bomb. CPS scandals, we stayed calm in the storm. 8-0 shields for the strong and the brave. People with disabilities, equal rights, we save. No second class treatment, we the same in the fight. Hammering justice through the dead of night. Equal and the same. We fighting CPS. Hammer Hank leads. 8-0 unbreakable. Equal and the same. Drop the bomb news. People with disabilities. We own the truth. Lord, grant us power in this righteous war. Equal and the same, we settle the score. For every disability dismissed and denied. Hammer and Hank charges with 8-0 pride. Podcast mic hot, breaking news bomb blast. CPAs crumbling, the truth at last. Equal and the same, we fighting CPS. Hammer Hank leads, 8-0 unbreakable. Equal and the same, drop the bomb news. People with disabilities, we own the truth.
Hey everyone, welcome to Saturday Night Show. Sorry for being a little late. We're getting better every week. You got to admit that. But anyways, it is 124-26. I would say the week of problems all over the place. Sure, you can have some ice cream, buddy. That was my son asking for some ice cream, which is great. And again, I use vitamins for the last 4 months, and his language and cognitive has been up. It's per se methylated glutathione, B6s, some magnesium, calcium. There's so much stuff now with Mr. Kennedy coming involved and starting to really show if we're not supporting our body, how do we support our mind? And I believe all our cognitive disabilities are from toxic stress, environmental stress, too much plastics, too much sodas, too much fructose syrups or artificial meats, or whatever you want to say it is. But yeah, so anyways, tonight, I don't even know what I wanted to do today. I'll be truthful. First off, I hope everyone is okay out there. Not sure if we're, where you're living in the country or the world, it's super cold, but it's damn zero here right now. We're getting ready to have anywhere from 12 to 18 inches of snow. And the ice is the part that kills me, because if we lose power, obviously we're not going to enjoy life for a few days. But prayers go out to the down south where supposedly they're getting 2 inches of ice. It's just that time of the year, folks. We got time to prepare. Sort of not like family courts where one day you got your custody of your child and next day you don't. It's sort of not like a civil rights courts where you walk into court, you don't have the ability to effectively communicate. I don't care if it's from post-traumatic stress or all the way to my son who uses picture communication systems for advanced learning, we'll say, of a new skill. And yes, walking into a courtroom that he's never been into his life and expected to be quiet when they're not even expected to be quiet in schools is part of the problem. The court courtesy, and honestly, I don't even know how the hell the courts can demand us to be courteous to them when the facts are they're not even respecting our rights as parents and rights as living American citizens found in protections of the Constitution and also found in your Bill of Rights, and I would say the Federalist Papers. It's really a complex system out there right now, guys. But again, back to the ADA, we're going to try and make this a little bit about ADA. I get so many phone calls every week or inquiries, oh, this is this, and, they're doing this to me. And everybody obviously wants to tell their story about their exes, which honestly, guys, you guys got to drop that. Get right to the point. Get right to the point. Anyone that's in this movement and trying to give assistance to its people, they got 20, 30, 40, 50 other people. And like my own example, I depend on so many people for technology because I am one stupid son of a bitch. Give you an idea. I don't know how it's doing it, but I mean, basically today, I went into my Yahoo looking for an email from somebody, and they're now in my spam folder. It's like there's somebody playing with my computer, and let it be the government or just my ignorance on how to use the computer efficiently, like some people can. Um, it's just amazing to me. But yeah, back to Nathan though. But Nate is the key issue. I've been fighting now for 2 weeks now. I got about 22 different ways of doing a Supreme Court petition. I know they're going to deny me, but it's the most pride that we put in when we start taking our motions and we start showing the errors of the court, especially as I find the ADA is an administrative duties, that with these administrative duties, they're non-compliant. What they're doing in most states I'm seeing is sending you to the HR department. They have no designated responsible employee, 28 CFR 35.107. Again, guys, Congress affirmed the DOJ, and they affirmed the designated responsible employee to end discrimination and change the whole system. I'm not even sure. Are we live right now? Because I just finally got the tweet there that we're live, and we've been into this for 5 minutes. If I've been talking, wouldn't that be funny? But anyways, I'm going to keep going with my story then. Yeah, so it's basically if you have that situation going on, what my feeling is as a person, we're not supposed to know what the courts can do for us. We're not supposed to know every separate procedural of their system. We don't have to know what they do with let's just say child support, guidelines and guidelines to this and why there's a family relations evaluations done and they're really biased. It's people that have a general social worker degree. I'm going to tell it truthfully. And what they're doing is they're talking to people about complex medical conditions that they have no affirmative understanding, no testing of, no proof that they can comprehend. And at the same time, as your opinion to where you want to live with your children, whether you're a parent who wants to run and when your child sneezes, go get a shot for it, or when your child sneezes, give them a little bit more orange juice or fresh orange juice, actually, for the vitamin C's and jump up on the D's and, the whole 9 yards. I'll just call it old school medicine because, again, that's what they would have done. And they would have used things like honey, ginger, thyme. These were all the herbs that for millions of years this world has run on. And again, you have to wonder why the Asians have their herbal medicines and acupunctures and things like that. The body is not a new science. What it is a new procedure for us to masquerade the systems of our bodies through drugs. And when I say systems, I mean anything from chronic migraines that you're forced to still go to work and nobody wants to answer the question why you're getting a migraine, all the way down to, hair loss or obesity. It really is a complex system. But again, when we go back to the court system now, we're not supposed to know all this knowledge on how they work. they have an affirmative obligation to be on the lookout for people with disabilities, or once asked, they must identify the policies and procedures so you may navigate the system and have effective modifications that impact your needs, or through association the needs of your child. Or it could even be your ex. If you were a halfway decent person and you knew your ex had some major disabilities, um, again, you would be able to ask for the appropriate services that fit the family's needs. It's not happening today. And instead, what we're seeing is a system that, we got newbie attorneys that, again, think they know everything. And again, they're going to conquer their world in their new Mercedes as they're billing five, six, seven, $800 an hour, um, for their services rendered. And again, it's endless billing, which makes no sense, not registered with the Department of Consumer Protections. So how do we protect ourselves? We know the complaint processes don't work. There's less than 1%. So that leaves me one alternative, to think in the terms of the ADA. And again, I'm not sure if you were watching the other night show, but basically we had a show, and I believe her name was Cindy, and she was with Dave. And people really didn't comprehend what I was saying. That once you ask for these particular services, they cannot hide, they cannot deny, they cannot coerce, and they cannot retaliate against you per Congress's will of 1990 and per their funding that they give to the government. I forgot where I read it, but it was a good one. I'm not sure if it was a DOJ quote, or it was a Congress's intent, where somebody stood on the floor and they basically say, come on, states, you get grants for, highways, education, law enforcement. You get grants. There's more grants. This whole system runs on grant money. And then they have the balls to come and say, we got to pay enormous taxes and sales taxes and gas taxes and all this other crap. But I thought those taxes were supposed to support our government, not the funding that the federal government gives them, with no accountability of where the money is going. It just kind of just doesn't make sense on how we do this. But anyways, they basically said, because we give you these grant money, we're going to end up saying that you have an affirmative obligation to care for society's most vulnerable. And that would be people with disabilities, that has a tendency over the history of this 250 years of this country, that we're always discriminated against. I don't care if you were black, purple, green, Martians, left, right, up, down, you're protected. And this is where people are not understanding. And the best part is through the association right. If you see this abuse, which, guys, by the way, it is an international law, when you abuse somebody with a disability, it's basically crimes against humanity, because again, you're doing the most outrageous godly things. And I think that's part of our problem in America, that we lost the faith of God. And I'm not going to get into the whole religion thing. I don't need a church to go worship what I believe in. That type of mentality. But yeah, so it's just really, I don't know. And when we look at when the ADA is applied, and they're not doing these obligations, which I'm in the middle of a conflict, because obviously, I listen to different advocates throughout the system, because we're all on the same educational thirst of knowledge, to see how we got to this fucked up point, and of our society now. It just really doesn't make sense to me. But when you don't have this right to access the courts, and stop somebody from bullying you, stop somebody from coercing you, stop somebody from retaliating against you, stop somebody from just discriminating against you because you don't have the capabilities like they do to go out and run a Fortune 500 company, all the way down to even push a broom as a janitor in a school system or something, because again, that's more skills than people would even understand, truthfully. Even our garbage men, all the way down to like me, a plumber, heating, air conditioning guy, wells and septics, and I happen to love code in construction, and maybe that's why I see this argument underneath the ADA that I still don't comprehend, why underneath their self-evaluations of the state's program, services, and activities are no one finding Congress's first and foremost mandate. You have to have designated responsible employee 28 CFR 35.107, because in my opinion, the only way to truly end discrimination would be sort of like making a constitutional sheriff, which Connecticut took away and gave it to the state police in 2000. Don't even get me going on that one. But if we're going to talk to the Constitution, then I'm going to say, okay, I believe the designated responsible employee was in charge by Congress, has Congress's authority to end and autocorrect the system once discrimination is identified. And with that theory, it becomes an affirmative obligation that they cannot say they're ADA compliant unless they do have this identified person, which if they try doing a cover up against it, it'd be an absolute jailable offense. They have no immunity. They were hired specifically to end the discrimination, set the standards and policies, affirm all transitioning programs are complied with, affirm all self-evaluations were complied with, affirm that they're using the disabled community to get the input of idea what's needed. And again, for easy terms, everyone understands wheelchair ramps. We all know that wheelchair ramps and barrier-free accessible buildings are absolutely needed. Even in a residential home, I would argue that the homes should be set up in a way where the distance of the hallways, because we know one day we'll all be in a wheelchair in our own homes, hopefully. That is, if God plans it that way, I guess. But anyways, yeah, it's just one of those technical procedures that the state cannot get around. So your rights too fall underneath the right to ask for job descriptions, self-evaluations, training, transitioning plans. What else can we think of? ADA advisory committees, past reports, past meeting notes. Like any other committee you'd find in the government, you'd have those exercisable authority, but you also have a right to account for where the dollars are. If you're really going to look into it, and I would really love to find somebody who's awesome at IT work and be able to start tracking the dollars on where judicial is actually claiming these monies are being diverted to, because I don't get it. If you're gonna constantly hear this too, is oh, we have ongoing trainings. John Hughes, DOJ, Connecticut, wrote a letter, I think it was 2012, let's say 12 to 14, that Connecticut's well on its way of being compliant. Yes, I would say underneath Title I, they've expanded their rights hugely, which is, again, state employees, which, again, per their own paperwork where you would send a complaint to, would be their EEOC department, which is, again, Title I, HR department, EEOC. We're under Title II because it's a service program and activity of. I'm not looking to get a job within. I don't want to know what the employee benefits are. I want to know what my benefit is with an autistic, nonverbal person who's used to using the picture communication system for effective new tools. And at that, you could say somebody with a cognitive ability could even understand the cost consequences of whatever the court's doing. So is there somebody there to explain to him, sort of like they use, and I do not want to use it, but I will, like domestic violence, like they give counselors and therapists for them to cope with the system, the whole 9 yards. So it's just there's so much the ADA ties into. It's such an aspect that I find that people just don't even see. The fact is, if you ask, they got 10 days. In my opinion, they have to immediately point you to the right direction because by Congress's rules, they're supposed to have it publicly known and publicly acceptable. So, meaning every different types of formats that you would find English all the way down to, Chinese, if that makes you happy. Um, so, anyways, it's crazy. Here's my little man again. Hi, bud.
Hi, Daddy.
What you up to? You got done with your ice cream?
I'm done eating your ice cream.
Really? Okay. You want to go watch some iPad?
Watch the iPad.
Okay. See how he's reassuring me that he's having his ice cream, but that's things he wasn't doing it for clear language just 4 months ago, guys. And it blows me away because the first doctor sat there and said, well, there's not much we can do. We see he's got a body yeast problem. We don't know what to do. But yet the studies are out there. And it's again, why do you have to go out and get this information and always cross-reference these experts? Which is going to bring me to another factor that I believe we are the experts of our children in relations. We know each other pretty damn well. When you're living with somebody, you know their ups and their downs and their hiccups and, the whole 9 yards. But even our friends, we're very aware of where our conditions of our friends are. And again, to speak as an advocate on behalf of somebody, to get involved in the matter, you absolutely, in my opinion, it's the moral thing the court should be doing, is to allow like a grandmother to petition the court and become part of the matter, especially when it's the state turning around and trying to steal the kid for profits, for their system, legal kidnapping, if you want to call it, just like ADA abuse is legal abuse. Dr. Karen Hoffer, 2012, you guys really can't understand the discrimination that they already know. Congress knows about this. They've been briefed for so many years. But like usual, you hear, oh, it's a state problem. No, it's a Congress problem because you fund this little monster, and it's funded unbelievably through the Social Security system and a multitude of different block grants and other types of grants. And again, let's just say community outreach or whatever it is that they've come up with these new concepts to just give them the bucket instead of just basic schooling, health protection. Let the families figure it out. And I think it actually should be, and let the communities find out, where if we bring it back to the community versus a one shoe fits all policy, we can't have this diversity. But back to the courts again, how everyone ain't getting this basic concept. So what I'm saying to you is basically what I need you to do is to start thinking, okay, if like Disability Rights of Connecticut is getting paid to ensure the rights of the disabled are complied with and Congress's will is carried out by enforcement of discrimination, because again, that's the only way, or best interests, safety factors, they can get involved. But it's mostly that the system should be automatically working like the Olmstead Decision Act basically says, that the disabled have the right to the most basic human rights, and that would be family and community settings. It just comes down to a fact that the government hasn't done it this way. They've done it where we're going to build these providers and keep everyone pretty much segregated and out of sight, as a first and foremost cost. And like my opinion, they're using Zoom to segregate me from the court proceedings because I'm associated with Nathan, and it just doesn't make sense to me, on that fact that they can even just say this is our only accommodation without actually they haven't addressed my right. And this is where it is after they give me a list of modifications that apply for my disabilities, I'm supposed to then review them. And if I have an idea that could work a little bit better for effectively ensuring and meeting the needs of Nathan and what he's going to need, then it would be the fact that the court would then have to take my request as preliminary, as primary need of service or modification, or it could be an extra activity or a component added to, in other words, when you look at the DOJ or not DOJ, the Department of Judicial of Connecticut, they have other sister departments found in the administration that might have the appropriate tools sitting over there. Sorry about the appropriate tools sitting over there that could help explain to the court what is truly going on and guide them in their decisions on where if their decision is done this way, that could impact it in a negative way. But if we just do it this way, it could be an actual positive effect for all and ensure that the disabled's rights weren't violated on segregation purpose of like the family or a relationship. Because again, I do believe the kids have a primary right to establish relationships. And again, if they want to go see that relationship. Now, we all know when you see a little kid, they always got a little favorite. And us as adults always like to run around and see what kid we can get to be the favorite. And it's just a thing that you jack up the whole crowd and get them going. And you'll find one that's really wanting your attention, and you focus on that one child and give them the attention for the dead. It's just you have to remember it's about the relationships that these courts are destroying, and by the way they destroy them is through financial gain, and that would be to me a conspiracy, a racketeering system, a criminal enterprise, because they're preying on the misery of people to profit. It just doesn't make any sense to me. If our number one thing is supposed to be look out for thy neighbor, how's the system even doing this the way it's been set up for profit? So again, when I talk about the ADA, I believe we have to have that effect where, again, like a handicap parking spot is identified in the parking lot. You walk into a building, there should be signage that tells you where the ADA coordinator is. And again, that would start at the administrative level, at the actual court service center, because again, that would be where you'd first need your first accommodation to figure out how to navigate the system. Another fact I have, if you are poor, is if you're in a situation, I don't care if it's from juvie all the way down to your child got in trouble at school and they want to arrest them, there's an association right because they are the poor, they are disabled, that they're entitled for this reasonable accommodation or modification, to have effective communication with the courts. Please see Tennessee Lane, Popovich. That's another great case. I like Lane versus Tennessee. It really, and that's the point I'm at right now, that, I feel like I want to turn into Mr. Lane and start suing the state for non-compliancy because they won't allow the right to remedy my problems. Just like, for 30 years, the federal courts have denied us parents underneath parents' rights to expand and ensure our fundamental constitutional principle to family integrity. They keep on saying it's a state issue, but again, they don't fund just that family rights aspect of it. They fund the ADA centers, and again, through grants of the Operation Center, through grants of the law library, through grants of legal help in legal clinics that your state puts on. Because again, the federal government doesn't, but I did find 3 years ago, I think it was off the Justice Centers .org, I believe it was, and it was regards to a pro se. So if you Google pro se federal help pro bono clinic in each state, you might be able to find what I'm talking about. But they're all gun ho. They're going to help me file my stuff because I left it as just parents' rights. I left the whole ADA out of it. And she's, oh yeah, let me get. And I'm like, well, I can't figure out how I would end up getting, to the federal courts and knocking on the door and saying, listen, I got a disabled adult here who's been denying his due process rights to the Constitution, and I need a civil rights attorney because I don't think it's my affirmative problem as the parent of him to continue to pay for unnecessary intrusion into his life. I paid for it throughout my life, but now I have to pay for it for the rest of his life to ensure his community setting, because again, your disability centers are not doing the first and foremost obligation of ensuring compliancy of the state under Title II and Title III, which would be subcontractors of the state. Title III, they'll hold the affirmative obligations of Title II plus their own obligations. And again, when they're in the courthouse, in my opinion, GALs to therapists to whatever, even child support enforcement, the AG's office, that they have to offer this modification of policies and procedures in those proceedings too, because again, there'd have to be an argument said that if you're already living on, low money and you're considered to be barely, you are the poverty of poverty. There is no one that gets less money in the world as a SSI check, because they don't have the capabilities of building to earn credits to be able to get extraordinary amounts of money, which wouldn't be extraordinary even at that, because if you're not making a couple grand a week, you ain't making it in this world. So again, when you're forced to live under $1,000 a month, I don't see how the hell you would even have that type of money to pay for these services that they ask to pay just to use a civil procedure. But yeah, so go back to this whole support enforcement shit, where I feel they cannot be attaching your checks, and I'm hearing so many stories of this, of the checks being attached, and somebody's got to flush it out more. But I do remember something in the fall time that I thought they clarified it, that the benefits are no longer being able to be stolen by the state and given to the state. It's direct money that was meant for the child's best interest, and that should be put into a separate account for the child's later future use. I'm not sure, but it's again, somebody needs to flush that out. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy, guys, that you guys got to understand this is going to be a fight. It's going to be an extra layer of paperwork. But it's the only one I see that you can get immediate relief. When I get immediate relief, you can go ahead and force the hand if they're not complying with any aspect of the civil right, or if you think there's coercion, or if you think there's retaliation, or if you think there's purpose discrimination, because they're a violation of, let's just say, even a relationship, all the way down to financial abuse, undue burdens, meaning, you got to keep qualifying yourself as a disabled person. They're not giving you the effective communication. I believe once you start questioning and you say you want to file this complaint, the complaint has to be done in a professional way, sort of like a police report. There has to be a case number. There has to be a finding, who's all inside of the things. And then there has to be a conclusion. And this is the killer part. If the state's involved, there has to be a recommendation on how to remedy the whole problem for all, not just me, for everyone. So it's just, and this is where it fails, because I show up to court today. They do the discrimination to me today. John Doe shows up tomorrow. John Doe, Jane show up the next day. It keeps going. It's a vicious cycle where they actually hire people to sit there and engage you and knowing that they can put the burden, and again, they write one simple, that's an undue burden. You haven't explained how, and at that, it hasn't been done by the chief financial person who answers to the ADA advisory committee on appropriate accommodations. Because that's my feeling is the only way it would be is through the advisory committee answering me, not a judge, because a judge would be too late after the fact. It starts when I walk into, again, the court service, then it goes to the clerks. It's through the clerk filing process. I guess it could be a judge because if you were to get arrested and you had a disability, you walked right into court in shackles and probably got your ass kicked the whole 9 yards the whole time because nobody knew what was going on with you. Yeah, so it's just there's multiple ways to look at it. And again, I don't know how to answer everyone in one swooping question or answer to the question, but it's going to be an uphill fight, guys. It's really one of those things that, I'm not breathing this on the own fact, but if nobody starts calling people out and holding them accountable for their payments of service, then how is that not a conspiracy, a racketeering company for profit that is assuring that if they undermine your rights and have the cost savings, that they could end up speeding up their system to the way they want it, not to the way Congress says it should work, for the disabled throughout their life in every situation or every engagement of any program, service, and activities. Yeah. So, I don't know. It's just crazy. But I'm hoping everybody's getting my point. And my point is because I don't know. There's not even a text box over here tonight. I don't know why the chat box is not up. Did I have to click on it? Because usually I don't. Nope, no messages. But yeah, so I hope Cindy's doing okay. From the other night, I hope she.
Henry, just so you know, the text box is up, everybody. So feel free to use the text box right here and throw some text in. It is there. They're just not. Everybody's silent tonight. I guess they're frozen or something.
Because I'm not interested.
Well, no, I think that people might just be cold. That's all.
or they're breaking up their furniture to put it in their wood stoves to get heat.
I mean, it could take whatever it takes. So just remember to make sure these people stay warm tonight and tomorrow night, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. It's just gonna be cold.
Yeah. So what'd you have to think? Did it make sense what I was saying, Darren? Because I'm sure you were back there, and then again, I wanted to give my spiel, and I told you I can go for a little while on it, but I don't know how to best explain it. That we know they're gonna fuck you on the ADA, but this is the only thing that's being funded. And it's being funded in a way that they have to end the discrimination of people they perceive as being disabled. So once the court stand up and says, "Oh, you can't be near that child because you got XYZ problems," hey, fuck you, Your Honor, you're discriminating against me. You just identified me as having problems, and who are you to identify me from the bench that I have a problem? It just doesn't even make sense to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, does it make sense to anybody? We're not required to tell the courts that we have a problem first and foremost, right? Like,
well, not really. And how would you lead to the appropriate services if you?
Okay, so we don't have to tell.
There's two types of disabilities. There's hidden and then there's physically known. You know what I mean?
But I guess where I'm trying to go with this is that we don't have to tell them what our problem is or what the problem is, correct? Like we don't have to tell them what our problem is, right?
Well, not really. I mean, you just say if you walked in there and you just said, "Listen, I need an attorney," or would you say, "Listen, I have a post-traumatic stress from your system. I need to have an appointment of co-counsel or counsel. or I need an appointment for this disabled person. That's what the whole engagement and communication is. How would you not effectively tell what services you need if you're going to keep your disability hidden? And yes, you're right. If you're one of those stubborn bastards and says you want to climb to the top of the Empire State Building and you don't want to take the elevator, then absolutely that disabled person has that right to do that.
Right.
That's ain't what I'm saying. I'm actually beyond that step, because again, I'm actually trying to show the engagement that's supposed to be taking place if you elect to engage.
Well, that's kind of where I was getting at, was if you're not telling the courts what your issue is or what's causing it, then they can't effectively
Right.
accommodate you, right? Like, so if you're going to go in there as a stubborn ass, and like,
Right.
I don't have to tell them this because of HIPAA and all this. You just have to say that you need ADA accommodations. Well, what? Because like we've said before, a wheelchair ramp and the armrest things don't work for me right now. I mean, those days might be coming soon, but that wouldn't work for me. Let's
Right.
take, for instance, a parent that is got PTSD from CPS. What we know that the ADA, they are covered under the ADA at this point, but what accommodations do they see? What are the accommodations somebody with PTSD needs when they go into that courtroom? Is it a color thing? Like, what are they? So who would they
Well,
go to?
some
To find
ideas,
that
some
out?
ideas could be like real-time transcripts. Some people are visual learners. Some people learn from hearing. So there's different ways and methodology of learning. We already know that. That's a proven fact. What I'm saying is basically everything they're doing right now is undocumented. So I'll give you an example. Like the other day when Cindy, her kid, she was in that court. The first thing the judge should have confirmed was buy a blue stamp on the folder that this is an ADA accommodation matter, right? And her first question should have been, hey, is everyone complied with the American Disabilities Act? Who is going to be our expert that's going to speak on behalf of the children? And again, the GAL, Miss GAL, did you look into the state to see what department within the state we're going to pull out of and get a clarity of what the needs are of the child? Because I have to have a clarity. One child's on a J feeding tube, one was autistic, so they needed a clarity of the strengths and weakness of the children before they can even say leg warmers are abuse. And it's just, again, with a name on it. What the hell? Kids are walking around with pink on their freaking back of their shirts today, and they're 10 years old.
Yeah. No, I mean, I get it. And that whole situation was asinine. If you want, I could play the clip. If you want, I could play that so people can understand what you were talking about, why they were just
let them go back and watch the show. It's worth it because that show was a really good firecracker show.
Yeah.
Because it brought in Billy from Toll and Roller, brought in me, and I wasn't there for hearing everyone sing.
Right.
I was there to help Cindy's kids. I don't even care about Cindy. You know what I mean? It's about kids, kids not being. Right. Well, no, to the fact of when I talk about my relationship to the ADA, it's the kids, the movement of what I heard of discrimination against those kids. Right. That again, they are faced with institution upon their father's death and their mother's death. Okay. Any way you look at it, if they can't care for themselves because of the extended, if she wants to dedicate her life to give that child the best life possible while she's living, then why is the government stopping that? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's wrong. They should be helping. They should be facilitating because we can do it for a tenth of the cost compared to these providers.
Well, that's just it. How much do you think how much is that check worth for both of those kids being disabled? Where does that dollar amount start? Right there, right from the gate. So they get what?
Right.
X amount of dollars for being a kid, and then each disability, they have a tier system, do they not?
Yep.
I'm sure that there is, for a matter of the disabilities being worth so much, or the
level of needs. Yes, it's called level of needs. So
right. How many of those are there?
That's the evaluation that you'd be asking. How does a judge even make this decision if they don't know the level of the needs of the child and how she inappropriately meeting them? Because that's Troxel versus Granville right there. Fuck that. It's discrimination. Let's go. I want the designated responsible employee because that person has the right to remove that judge because he has monetary control over the budget. He can remove that judge if they're discriminating. There is no state fucking employee board. There is no fucking bar. There is no bullshit. It goes right to the designated responsible employee to end that discrimination and autocorrect the system because then a statement of fact would have to come out afterwards. You know what I mean? How do we correct this so it doesn't happen to another disabled child on a fucking J tube in need of medical treatment that they interrupted? You know what I mean, bro? It
Yeah.
blows my mind.
Yeah, those kids are never going to be right again. I mean,
They're
they're
traumatized.
right. And not only that, Henry, but what about the training for these people that they handed over these girls to? Well, I don't know if we're supposed to talk about that so much, but they handed over the girls to the other side. And are these people even effectively trained to take care of her? They talked about that night. Like these people, if that feeding tube comes unlodged, they have what 20 minutes. They said to get that thing back in, or it can
Correct.
become infectious, and they can die.
Correct.
But yet the stages, I mean,
And it's done if it's done in a manner that, again, there is a couple parents I know that do J tube feeding, and again, I bless them, man. Right now, I'm fortunate. Nathan is a type of child where I don't want to say he wants to be left alone in his world, but he needs his own downtime. And if his downtime is just being on an iPad, then so be it. You know,
right.
It's his
Well, he's a person
regulation.
too. Everybody needs their downtime.
Right.
You know, that's just that.
Right. But one will say, like the lawyers will say, well, my downtime is sitting back drinking cognac at some fucking lottie toddy fucking restaurant. You know what I mean?
Right.
Where we're saying no. This kid is stimming on Disney Place House YouTubes, and again, for anyone that needs something good for their kids or got grandchildren, ZAC browser, Zach browser, download the little green submarine and watch your kids have fun on a freaking iPad. It's a really cool experience. It's all education. There's a Zach's community, so if you do have children with disabilities, it's protected. It's another one I would really rant and rave. But yeah, so I don't. We got Sam coming on tonight at 9.
Yeah, Sam's coming on at 9:30, right? Yeah,
Okay,
9:30.
yeah. So it's 8:30 now. But how's it up in Maine? How cold is it up there?
Ooh, Lord.
Yeah,
It says it is 4 degrees, Henry. 4 degrees up here right now.
wow, bro. I'm about the same. You know, we're in Connecticut, so. Aren't they supposed to have the Pats game tomorrow? Is that playing up there in Boston or no? Because I think that's where
Henry, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I used to have season tickets to the Patriots. I had season tickets for a long time, me and my father. And well, when he died, I stopped watching. I mean, I played football, I did all that stuff, but I wasn't really an NFL fan. I wasn't really a football fan. I was a Patriots fan. And you know, we had season tickets when the Patriots could barely even make it out of the locker room, let alone win a game. And then we watched them go all the way to become the 6-time world champions. But when my father died, I stopped watching football completely, and I couldn't even tell you who the quarterback for the Patriots are now. So I don't know.
I was actually surprised that they're making it still without, I figured they would have fallen all apart with Brady. Hey, I just like this time of year because this is when the games get serious. Pre this, everyone's being prima donna. So like NASCAR used to be good because the crashes and shit like that.
Right.
It's part of the game. You want to play, you're going to pay, Darren, right? And I'm tired of the government coming along and saying you got to put in this patent to protect all. You know? Fuck you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we talked about that too. How do you, let's talk about the scam, man. Let's talk about how again, I don't need a wheelchair ramp and I don't need the arm rails that go into the bathroom. But when you go into a courthouse or you go into a school or you go into any places like that, that's what you see. And then that's like, a lot of people. And nowadays you want to see like a little elevator or something, to help the people in the wheelchairs go up the elevators, like I mean, up to the second floor. But that in most people's common minds is that's ADA compliance. They're, like they got the door's wide enough for a wheelchair to get in. There's a bathroom over there that has, the mom and the dad with a baby changing station in it. Mm-hmm. So there we got that. There's another bathroom over there that the sink and the toilet are 6 inches off the ground. Mm-hmm. So we got that done. And, that's basically what it surrounds itself with is these, I guess really going to the bathroom, right? That's most of the places that you see.
It comes back to Title I employment. It comes back to Title I employment where an employee breaks their leg, they're in a wheelchair, they got to make sure they can get into the bathroom and go to work.
Right. Well, but here's the other thing is, wow, my brain just slipped out. I just had a great thought too.
Well, I agree with you. What you're saying, you can see the physical entrances. Even though I know of courthouses that are not historical, and they have the law library on the second floor. I seen the disabled having to be forced into court service center, which is a tiny little room. This room is bigger than it. It is an unfinished basement, but whatever. I'd say the office room is a 10 by 10. That's for the court service room. It's just wrong what you see. And what my argument is there is then even at that, I think Lowest Law and West Law and things like that, our capability to research should be online because everything should be digital in all multiple formats. And they're not allowing that multiple formats. They will multiple formats means language. And no, it doesn't mean language. It means accessible to the information.
Yep.
And again, if it's not published and they're hiding things from you, and again, guys, you got to get your settlement agreements. That's your state settlement agreements. Tells you what's going on. And again, if they're underneath an investigation, if they had current just settlement agreement, I would recommend looking up the people and calling them and letting them know that you're being discriminated against.
Yeah.
And that's why I would also call the disability rights of your state. I would ask them, tell them, or if there's like a council of developmental disabilities, tell them. If there's an office of child and civil rights and women protection, call them. If there's a state's attorney general office of civil rights, call them. And it sucks. This is how the burden becomes a technical barrier due to it. They don't want you to know this information that they have an affirmative obligation to protect. But
that's I guess what I'm trying to get at here, Henry, is this: where's all the money?
That's what I want to know, and that's where
where's all the money?
That's where we can get them.
Because how much do you know what the given budget is? The budget is for a ballpark figure.
No, I know, like the town of South Windsor. I know underneath the town of South Windsor. See, the Department of Social Services is also in your local area supposed to be doing community inclusion reforms. But I know during Obama times, because Nate was in pre-K, right around there, or kindergarten area, and they got 150 grand to become compliant. Now I'm going to training about autistic kids and what to do for them, ABA and all this other stuff. And sitting right next to me is a South Windsor town employee on her own dime, on her own freaking time, because she has a heart. I get less than 10% of society is going to care for the most vulnerable. I get most people look at him as a plague walking out, or a bum walking down the street. You got to wonder why that guy is a bum. And again, it ain't because of financial or an addiction problem. There's a root fucking problem, and it's usually caused by a mental impairment of some type.
And now, what is the effective way to handle someone with a mental impairment? Again, I'll use the example. Let's go into a courtroom. What needs to be done in that courtroom? Or are these things supposed to be weaponized and ready for when someone comes in?
They can't weaponize it. That's just it. They can't use the disability. They have to offer a modification. And again, depending on what the disability would be, and again, let's just go with alcohol. You can't lead a horse to the water and make it drink. But when that person's ready to drink that water and say, I've given up on it, and wants their family back, then the court has to already open the matter and say, look, they're clean and serene, they're back. That's it. Because that's the number one thing that they try to do. If you ain't on drugs, then they're going to call you nuts. Well, how am I nuts if I'm protecting my child and I'm well educated and I'm calling you out? I don't get this.
Yeah. I don't either.
Show me your affirmative training, Your Honor, that makes you smarter than me. Because if you haven't had it, or no experts are in this room, I'm the expert of that person right there.
Well, that's where I'm kind of going to, Henry. This ties to the money. The problem, the accommodations are huge. Like if you started
it's endless, Darren. It's endless.
I mean, I could have a stigma in my eye or something like that. And, or, like, let's talk about what about the people with Braille? Like, where are their accommodations? Like, like I said, you go into these buildings, you look at the bathroom and you look at the walls for the handrails, and there's certain things that you look for to see if you are handicapped, if the place would accommodate you, but not that type of handicap. Some you can't see
Hidden
all of the
disabilities,
handicaps,
right?
right?
Right.
So there must be a monstrous amount of money that's put out in this field.
I would think because of training, like Nathan, he was taught to use the picture communication exchange systems under new such situations, new applications of life, new deviants of the routine. Because a lot of people are routine driven, Darren.
Right.
And again, when they walk in there, I would think that that person should know. But if you're going there to advocate, and that's where the signage should be, that you're looking for the designated responsible employee. You're dealing with a disabled matter and you want to know what's going on. And again, you want to make sure that there is no discrimination in this factor. And that's where the signage starts. And then that's where it starts with the engagement. So that's where I'm telling you, you need to engage. You just can't walk in there and say, you're discriminating against me because you don't have it here. Well, did you ever ask? Then if you didn't ask, then it ain't discrimination. It's them getting away with the system. Or if they coerced you not to accept their answer, is saying, well, we don't have a big budget. We don't have access to elevators here. We don't have an ability to give you any XYZ situation. So again, based off of whose opinion? Are you the one that runs the system? Meaning for the disabled, because again, the only one that runs the system is the advisory committee, and again, that advises the system to compliancy. But
yeah, I don't know, man. It's just I would love to. I'm looking up right now. That's what I'm doing. I'm looking up to see what the federal dollar amount is for, because there's got to be just a block of money that that is allotted, right? Like just a basic block of
they
cash.
hinge dollars in so many, and that's what makes it so complicated. Your rights are hinged to the dollars, and the dollars are hidden in different directions, different grants, different meanings. It's but again, just think of it this way: if they take $1 for the bridges or highways, like the town of West Hartford just got $495,000 to improve the roadways for bikers.
Like, or like ding ding ding.
No, ding 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 ding, pedestrian walking bullshit.
Gotcha.
Which again, are you shitting me? You ever see the bikers in downtown New York? Is that what it's going to turn to? Screw you and your bike. And there's some places you don't bring your bicycle to.
Yeah, but then that's not. Now you're going ahead, and I guess where's the stopping point then? Where's the stopping point?
Where we, as the Constitution says, we got to care for the most vulnerable people, and that's godly built in our
right.
church.
But we, as the Constitution people too, like the bikers, you just say, have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Oh no, motorcycles a different matter.
Riding a bike, not getting run over is.
I'm talking about the bicyclist lane, the bicyclists.
Oh, I know, and that's what I'm saying. Because you're saying that doesn't, share the road or run them over. I'm saying that if life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is what we're guaranteed here in this country, then they deserve to have those bicycle lanes, because that's they're being protected for something that they love, and a sport that they're in, or whatever they want to call it.
Right.
So now it begins this fight, right? Like which one?
Well, it's part of this.
$20. If they have $20 for your $20, do you give it to the kid with a disability that's clear and visible, or do you give it to the guy that has a hidden disability and needs to ride his bike so his PTSD doesn't go through the roof? How do you decipher between which one to give that $20 to? Because you can't always give everybody. You can't always get what you want. You know. So which one gets that? Like what?
I don't know.
What is
I
that?
just look at it as, what? It's always had that white line space for bikes. You ride in a single file. Every time I see these biking guys together, they're 2 up, 3 up. You know what I mean? And again, taking over the whole, there's huge packs. And again, it's crazy the way I see these guys ride. And I get it's a competition, but the roads, if I can't use the roads for racing on my motorcycle, then how are they using the roads to race on their bicycles? And in that, why wouldn't you go out to the country to go ride your bikes versus downtown, which again, I think it has to do with the clean air. I think it has to get with more people getting in congested areas, and again, I get there's places like Denmark and China and everywhere that ride bicycles everywhere they go. America's not built that way. America's on the fact of you and your car. It's about you and your car and go anywhere. Your freedom is to go anywhere, you know, or a horse.
Right.
I'll even take it back to a horse. I guess a bicycle could be looked at as a horse, but again, you said it right there. We have physical problems of people not getting accessible services, but yet the people other than that can get their wishes and wants to improve their personal needs. If it's for all, I don't know. And I get what you're saying because I know people have to go work out and it mentally gives them release. If they don't work out, they just don't feel right. And go run 10 miles. I get that. I get it. But yeah, I'm more
What
worried
is
about
what is
the
what
ones
is
that can't speak for themselves or what they need. Like you're saying, when you walk into the court, and again, you don't have the
okay? Now,
effective
then
language.
so the next question or the next comment is how much is that harming? How much are you allowing? Let's just say PTSD because CPS took your kids. How much does that take away from the people that are viewable and like everything about them is a severe handicap? If we're starting to accommodate every person because like getting the everybody gets a trophy mentality, what do we do then? Like where do we draw the line? There's got to be one, right? Because at some point, the money that Nathan needs to go into the courtroom so that he can be there and get the things like you were just saying is going to be removed. And that's not fair for him because he can't now go to the courtroom and get a fair trial or whatever because the guy that has something that's hidden, PTSD, thinks he should be a cat shitting in a litter box or whatever, is receiving the fundings that should be going towards Nathan's 100% true ability. I mean,
Right.
how do we take that and put the brakes on that?
Again, I think it just has the right to make it clarified legally, and then once you make it clarified legally through counsel, that would be the best that we could do. But again, if there's not experts in that room that are familiar with that particular autism, profound autism,
Right,
nonverbal picture communication, how do you appropriately even use the system to get the
right,
appropriate question out of them? There's too much there, where again, the state has, so then that's when they got to slow up the system. And this is what I love too. And this is why they don't want the system brought in, Darren. This is the
yeah,
God's honest truth. It's not even the money. Ready? If I have 300 days, according to federal law, to identify a federal discrimination complaint, and discrimination complaint meaning take them to court at the federal level, take that person who discriminated or entity to court, then that means all their system of these 10 days, 20 days, 6-month periods can terminate a child's rights. I have up to 300 days. So that's basically a calendar year to bring up the discrimination, or else the federal government says, we forgot about it. We can't go there. But if you show a pattern, yes, you might be able to open back to day one. There's controversy on that case law. I say it was fraud. If it was fraud from day one, it's fruit from a poisonous tree. Hence, everything is null and void. Do it over.
well, you let her walk away. You won.
Yep. Well,
There's
I don't want to say that in a way because what if we're talking about somebody who's really, got fucked up and they got you on a technicality and that person's abusing them. And family courts that even if you are an abuser or not, your name is not published. It's actually protected. Where again, I think these courts need to be an open society court. We have a right to know who's walking around in our society and who's abusing the most vulnerable. And this is what we don't get. Where again, everyone's get your hustle on, get your game on.
yeah, I agree. I agree.
Don't
I
buck
mean,
your
it's not,
system. Don't buck the
well, that's
system.
it.
Hold your job.
Don't
Shut your
ask
mouth.
not what your country can. Right. It's ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. Type deal. That's
Yep.
where it becomes. That's where your upbringing and your ethics and your what's the other word I'm looking for here? Your ethics, your holy smokes, not motives, but your
Intent.
Yeah,
No.
shit. I don't.
Obligation?
Damn it! I lost the whole thing now.
Because they have an obligation, and as far as I'm concerned, the ADA clarified the constitutional rights of people with disabilities. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And again, they have to go out of their way to ensure discrimination did not occur. And everyone's like, "Oh, well, what's the cost?" Well, as far as I'm concerned, the cost would be local, meaning anyone that's going to be there in the courtroom are going to be experts of the community. Hence,
Right.
they're all money is going back to the community. So I'm okay with that, but it doesn't mean, it's sort of like
But do they just
it doesn't mean that they can create this separate medical treatment for you and make you be forced to go see their psychologists that are not treating people. If you really had a family problem and there was a mental, then it should be the family treating doctor. Because typically, when you go as a family, right? At least I do. Nate sees the doctor than I do. He treats us both because whatever my disabilities are going to be in life, Nathan's more than likely going to have it. Well, except for smoking, right? He if he doesn't smoke, then he'll never have black lungs like I do, probably.
Yeah, So Henry, do they?
But it's genetically
Why don't you tell
speaking.
people?
Whatever's wrong with you is going to be wrong with your kids. Let it be from heart conditions all the way down to high blood pressure. Prone known to let's just say strokes at an early age. Whatever it is, it's all factors.
Right. Right.
Because it'd be okay, common sense. Well, you can't afford life insurance today, sir, but you do want to put one on your child for down the road if you're known for dying young in your family. That'd be common sense. Can we court order it to you? No, but we can request you do it if you can financially accept it. We can't make you do that. It would be.
Well, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
I've heard of parents having a court order that they had to provide life insurance policies for the children, health insurance for the children, all this other stuff. And again, if you can't afford it, then sorry, you would have been qualified for state services anyways. We already know when the family entity splits up, it's going to be twice the housing, twice the medical, twice the food, twice the.
Right.
So if you're looking at the family as a whole, you truly have to look at the family as a whole and take all the medical conditions in. Because again, if you have somebody that's quadriplegic and they were a dad, it's capable, it's possible, and I do actually kind of know people. But how's that person going to go out and get a 40-hour week job? It just doesn't happen.
Right.
They're living on state medical services or whatever, SSI. Should the government be attaching that? No. If the mother is making good money in the whole 9 yards, then have her pay a portion back to the state and they're clear and free. But the state doesn't think of that common sense shit. Instead, they want to inflict more pain, more costs to the family, and ensure that they are all both going bankrupt.
Yep.
And again, we're only one of 4 countries that does this shit, right? There's more rights in Russia to your children, believe it or not, and the government will not intervene. They'll only have true and absolute harm, and that's where we got to get back to is true and absolute harm. You guys had kids, work it out. Work it out. And again, I don't know about you, but I'm tired of having guests on and bashing their exes when they're not here to defend themselves. Everything I do about the ADA is clearly by published information. So again, I don't need to stay here, but I wish the state actors would come in and let's engage. I wish I could ask this whole thing because nobody will give me any answers to like self-evaluations. To again, it's like figure it out on your own. FOIA us. No, I don't have to FOIA you. You have an obligation to let me know and affirm that I'm dealing with the correct entity or the correct person. That's obligational. This ain't a FOIA request. I'm a disabled person using the service. I have the right to ensure it's been compliant.
That's great. I love it. All right, so it looks like take Questions challenge U.S. Census Bureau assess the 2020 ACS for new business biases. Really is just giving me a beat around the bush here for the amount of money that they're giving.
It's billions, dude. There's so much attached to different grants. I mean, I know for the rights that Disability Rights of Connecticut gets roughly $500,000 a year just in federal funding. What about the Autism of Child Advocate? Not the Autism Child. What about the Office of Chief Child Advocate? That's the way you have to break this down, Darren. The only one that can really tell you is really honestly FOIA in the federal government to find out exactly how much money the states get in regards to benefits of people with disabilities.
Are you allowed to FOIA these things? Are you allowed to FOIA?
I do believe so. Yes, absolutely. You're allowed to FOIA it, but I don't have to FOIA it if I'm dealing with the entity and trying to access and have effective communication with the correct person. Hence, me asking all the questions I get to ask. Are you? Because you guys got to understand, it's a case called In Rikers Island, 2004, that gives you a pretty good definition of the affirmative obligation. Then you have to look at your settlement agreements, not only in your state but throughout the state, where it's expanded in the last 14 years, a little bit more.
Yeah.
And again, what applies, like my feeling is, when you're your Miranda rights, you have the right to remain silent. Well, when you go to educational 504 needs, they give you a procedural safeguard that you're supposed to sign and identify that you've been given your rights underneath the 504. Why aren't the courts giving that as, again, their opening statement when they start that bullshit? Oh, you have the right to remain silent, or whatever they read the court. You know what I mean? Their Miranda rights and how the court's going to operate for the day, because everybody's got to show up at 9 and hear the judge's spew. Then everybody goes back out into the hallway. And again, it's just so crazy where they don't even sit there and say at that time, if you have a perceived disability or a hidden disability and you need an effective modification of program services and activities, go to room 202 and go see, you know what I mean? That's where,
right. Go see Doug.
that's where, when you said to me how it could be done, that's actually the way it should be done. Because if they're reading off the Miranda rights of everyone, again, in the way the activity of the court is to operate for the day, what are the court courteous rules? Because I've been in a court where they've reaffirmed their rules because they thought we were a hostile people coming up and doing a little court watching. I'm out on the fence on that one, Darren. Honestly, court watching, I don't know. I haven't found where it really impacted. I was there for emotional support, and if you can take the time to emotionally support somebody, great. But having people show up by the hundreds, I just don't get how that helps, other than just makes them more pissed off. Sort of like if you start doing the path I'm asking everyone to do to ensure your rights are complied with, you're going to piss off a lot of people. Is it going to bring down a ton of heat on you? Absolutely. It depends on how deep their rabbit hole of discrimination and frauds go.
Right.
Because they don't want this uncovered. They don't want people questioning them. You know? You're supposed to be a people robot and, like, in fear, show up and be afraid of that judge. And I'm telling you, Cindy, this is in regards to you, sweetheart. Focus on the kids. Nothing else matters. I don't care about the ex. They can drown in. I don't care. It's the kids themselves. You have to actually start getting people on board and say, this is not right. They were in a safe, loving home. And is it the best home in the United States like the White House? No, but it was an appropriate home. Again, you were facilitating relationships with family members and friends and whatever else. You're giving them their independence to the max you can give it to them. It's crazy, bro. But yeah. Hey, I want to get off of the ADA for a minute, and I want to talk to you. What is going on with our peeps getting hit left and right?
As far as what? What do you
Yeah,
mean?
our California friend. I don't know if you want to go there or if you want to go with.
Yeah, man, it looks like they're flexing their muscle on us, right? Like they're definitely doing something. They're putting some. They're they're definitely flexing their muscles. They're definitely putting something
So
out on us.
another advocate of ours that really is a behind scenes person, and we've had her on the show. She's being attacked now in California. Trumped up some bullshit charges after you're on probation that
Yeah,
you violated your probation, and again, it's just another bullshit one. We had Dave saying the other night. And again, it's January. This is when they fill up the courtrooms to get ready to be cleared out by the summertime so they can go on their summer breaks. And then they restart back up in the fall. It's
yeah,
like, you know, it's in sections they do
yeah.
it, you know. Or
I mean, I think
sweet.
they see. I think we talked about it when they start seeing that we're making momentum or doing something. They put the kibosh to it. But you know what I really want to talk about is how many false ones are out there. How many people are plants? How many people are out there just to distract us from what we're doing or what we're trying to do or show? How many people are leading people the wrong way? I mean, we're getting more and more of this. That's why I'm proud of us, man. Because you're new to us, but like we've stood the test of time here. We've been out here for like 5 years. We're still here. Like we escaped the whole bashing. Like rarely do we get bashed by anybody or any of that stuff. But we like we float in our lane. We produce the news and then talk to people and hear what everybody has to say. But man, there is just a lot of noise going on with all these advocates. And rightfully so. This is the first time I think that CPS has ever been like a trending topic as far as podcasting and and those things. I think this is like the first time that it's ever made it to even 30 views, or 30 views or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like people are starting. CPS is starting to become part of what people are saying, and they don't like that, man. They
Yeah.
don't want CPS to be a spoken word in your household. They don't want you to be talking with your neighbor about it. That is for you to have happened to you, to shut you down, lock you in your bedroom for the rest of your life, and never come out again. You don't fight the system. You've been crushed. You don't talk to your neighbor. You're embarrassed. So just sit in your little corner and rot and die. And what we're doing is we're rallying them up and saying, no, get out of your bedroom. Get out of the closet. There is hope. One way or the other, there's your hope. You can't lose hope ever.
You got to turn your hurt into to energy and focus it. But again, like you're saying, I do believe this is a correct in how fast we're really clipping these bastards through social media. Think about it. If they had social media back in the 60s during the revolution of the rights for not only women but blacks, but again,
Right.
this shit would have done a lot faster than what it was done, and it would have been done within years. And now that we got the right president in that, again, hey, I'm starting to get the text messages. You see, Alicia sent you something.
Right.
Yep. We're starting to get finally somebody joined in on the show, or has there been people here all along?
I did.
But yeah. So, anyways, it's back to that whole. If they had this whole internet capability back then that we do today, it's amazing to me. Honestly, I don't know about you, but I watch a little bit of news. I'll go through the stations, and then I'll come to the internet to find out the real truth of what's going on. And I find that the internet is about 2 to 3 days ahead on some subjects that are breaking news to the local news. But again, the narrative on the local news is just that repeated, like the judicial. We're God. We're going to tell you how it is. We got your best interest of your child. We're here for you. When most people don't really know the truth of it's the greatest play or the greatest stage act you've ever seen in your life. If you start really watching the system, you will say the repetitiveness of the ongoing stage of intimidation, threats. Again, if you really are being discriminated against, you need to grow a pair and stand up and go at them. Because other than that, they're just going to plow you over. And I don't know about you, but guilt eats me up alive a lot of times. And Yeah. So
Yeah.
okay. So they've been here. Renee said they've been here. Okay. Thank you. I don't even see our buddy John. John's usually here. I hope Canada's all right. He's got to be really fucking frozen.
Yeah, it is on fire.
Right. I was talking to Jonathan from Family Institute yesterday. He's up there in Michigan, off grid, and I'm like, holy
Well, like,
shit!
they're not getting this snowstorm. They're not going to get
No,
any,
when I was
any
talking to
snow.
him, it was already minus like fucking 2, and I was there in the middle of the day.
Louis, is that you or Susie tonight? Which one of you are typing? Who is it? Who is this? Oh man! So don't forget. Hey, we got Sam coming up here in a few minutes.
Yeah,
So
9:30.
don't forget to
Comes
stick
in
around and watch
at
her.
9:30.
Yeah.
Right.
Make sure that we just want to make sure that everybody sticks on and
Checks her out tonight.
watches her. She's awesome. And she really does well because this goes right in line with what we were talking about with the PTSD thing. She's great. She's helping parents heal. She's helping parents, go through the CPS machine with a little guidance, and a little support, or actually a whole lot of guidance and a whole lot of support for you as a person. So I don't know if you guys know who Sam Mosley is. If you guys haven't seen her on the shows, she's just a phenomenal mom turned rogue, turned terrible mom by CPS, who channeled her sadness into fighting for parents and helping them work their way through, taking that rage and turning it into, kindness. I mean, she's just really awesome. So make sure that you guys stick around for her and watch her. It's good stuff. Really good stuff.
She's a helpful person, and I wouldn't mind having her one night on the show because we've never even interacted really together. I've watched her shows a few times, and I wouldn't mind getting more. But by the time you get here, sitting here for a little while, it's like back to back. But I catch them the next day, scan through them all. But yeah, so I mean, back to what else is going on. Where are we at with the app? When are we going to be launching that son of a gun?
I keep saying we're very close.
Technical problems, guys. Technical problems.
And I've been working on it while right before the show, and I was just doing a couple of things while we were on there while I was looking at this stuff. I mean, we're right there. I mean, within days here, I'm going to make this promise. Within 48 hours, we'll have the app up and running. I promise
this. That's a promise to the disabled community, correct?
That's a promise. That's right. So within 48 hours, we will have that app up and running, and people will be able to use it. And it's not that I need any more pressure, but we'll go ahead and we'll put that on me because I know it needs to get out there. There's people that need it.
We definitely
need to get it fired out there. Yeah, I mean, this thing's a game changer. You know that. I know that.
Right. Well, it's not only that; it's an effective tool that can help all. And again, that's what we got to strive for. Is when we start here, even on our shows, we're giving you only effective tools, guys. That's it.
Educational tools only.
I mean, it's tools for trying to conquer a system that is used to parents not standing up to them. And again, when you want to object because this is totally destruction of your family, and we're giving you a path and a possibility to do it, you got to run down that path. We know it's going to be more burdensome. We know it's going to be more problems. You want to say hi to Darren?
Hi, Darren.
Oh, it's my boy. Hey, buddy, how are you?
Say good.
It's my buddy. Do you have ice cream tonight, bud?
Yeah, ice cream fun.
Did you?
Yes.
You did. Was it good?
Yes.
All right.
Good stuff. I love ice cream so much.
You burping, your belly's full. That's what it is.
Cool.
Yeah, it's good. It's a growing man.
Yeah.
Growing man. Getting up there, getting the muscles built, all that good stuff.
So, old Becca girl was teaching me a little bit about AI today. We got to have a course on that because I was totally blown.
Well, listen, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to put it up here right now because you know what? I should advocate for this because this thing is think it's let's see.
because I was
Hold on,
totally blown away the way she put it in the coding for hers. She wrote, "I am not a unethical hacker or something to that extent," and just gave it all these prompts and commands where I'm just signing in and saying, "Hey, what would you think of this?" Or can you look here? Can you look there? Yeah. So
Where is it here? Oh, here we go. Is this it right here?
Lewis,
I know
Lewis,
it's
you had
on.
to stand up for the cop the other day. For what reasons, my friend?
Oh boy.
Giving you a 55 speeding limit ticket. But
Yeah. I didn't even know that they drove that fast.
I can't drive. Well, I'm doing good music. Hey, by the way, I like that hip hop song you made for me.
Yeah, you like that was
Like
good.
it,
You told me
like it. I'm more of a hip hop, old
it's a little
school.
more thump, you know.
Next,
Yeah,
I got to get like a Stairway to Heaven tune from you.
Stairway to
Stairway to the
Stairway to
Disabled World. Tell it all in one
yeah,
story.
yeah,
But again,
yeah.
guys, I can't stress it enough. You're going to get your
Hey,
ass,
wheelchair ramp to heaven, right?
huh?
We'll have a wheelchair ramp to heaven. That's what we'll
Wheelchair
do instead of stairway.
Beautiful.
Yeah, do
But
that.
again, guys, I
You know, and
can't tell
talk
you
about
enough. This is, in my opinion, the quickest way, because after 10 days, they do not tell you that you have a disability accommodation or modification. Technically, now that's discrimination. They're giving you technical barriers to the program, service, and activity, and now you can go to federal court and ask for oversight to ensure the compliancy of the activity. You're not asking them to get into the matter of the fact unless we can figure out a way to amend it from there. But it's at least opening the door. And now that kind of puts all the judges on notice that the big daddy's watching, and you better not screw with these people.
screw with Big Daddy.
Because again, what's on the line is the right to remove their federal funding. And that's why if we have a judge that's discriminating, I'm sorry, the designated responsible employee has that right to remove the judge from the bench. That's the only way.
Get him off
No,
the
seriously,
bench.
if you have a cop that's discriminating, that cop can't go work for another town. That judge can't be no longer a judge. He's a biased person. He's attacked the people with a disability. And again, no, because I was not using a blinker violation, huh? Holy shit.
Oh
Oh,
my God! Put him in jail.
no insurance, they tell you. That's the one thing you got to have. I don't care about registration.
Unless you're from New Hampshire, and then you don't have to have it.
Really?
Really?
You don't have to have insurance in New Hampshire?
No, sir, you do not. Live free or die, buddy.
Love it. Hey, any updates on that parenting bill?
No, I just don't. I haven't really
seen
looked
that
into it
either
anymore.
on
But that's what they're doing. They're just shifting it to the other courts, which is a good thing because now they have to go beyond a reasonable doubt and that stuff. But it's just going to be the same BS. People are like, "Oh, they're abolishing." They're not abolishing anything. They're just shifting the courts. They're just
And
moving
even
things
if we
around.
do get a Hail Mary this year, which Tiffany sent me the other day about Congress, did you guys know about this? Holy shit. Did you know about that one? Congress now
Oh, the
reaffirmed the
UFC.
HHS employees, meaning the subcontractors of, that's any state level too, cannot enter into your home without permission. Did you see that declaratory document?
Sure did.
Yeah.
Pretty bad, right?
Yeah, well, let's put it up for the people if you got it. That's something that they should know about. That was on 122 that it came out, and I'm not sure. I don't remember you guys talking about it the other day.
We have not gotten the chance to because it came out after. We noticed
This is
it after.
huge. This is huge, guys.
Yeah, it says clearly that you cannot, no officer, or no agent of, or any of that stuff can enter your home as the head of the state. If the head of the household refuses your entry, you're out of there. Let me see here. Tiffany sent it to me, so I got it right here somewhere. Tiffany Puncher.
She sent through Messenger on me. I can pull it up.
Yeah, I got it. It's right here somewhere. I just gotta find it. I get so many messengers a day, and I'm very appreciative of that.
It's well.
There's a point in time where I barely get, two.
That's all we're about is putting out the technical knowledge, and yeah. So, but so you got a big show coming up this week on Wednesday, right? Any announcements on it?
Yeah, Louis Ewing. Louis Ewing is going to be with us. It's going to be awesome. He swears up and down that he's got the solution to end CPS, and he wants to even pitch to be the leader of the whole shebang movement. And, well, we're going to hear what he has to say. Tiffany and I talked to him for a good couple hours the other night, and well, that's what.
Well, I think it's true, and that's why I wanted you to bring up that document, because it's going to lead into my next statement. But I might as well just say it now. I mean, guys, you don't even know what's going on. They are watching huge, and this is why they're trying to clip out the advocates. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you're an advocate, the next 3 months, don't even jaywalk. Don't even jaywalk. That's how bad it is. It's really, I do believe we've been all put on a target list just for being this much against the system. And I'm not against the system. I want to have a court I can respect. I want to have a court that I can go to and ensure and trust that is the right things are being done. Because again, I believe even the Amber Alert system is being abused, where that's again a desperate parent just seeking to.
No, that Amber, no, don't even go there. That Amber Alert system is used nothing more than parents that go and get their kids from CPS and take off. When was the last time you heard a real kid being kidnapped on the Amber Alert? Never. It's always these kids that go and rescue and get their kids back. CPS is taken. They've weaponized that.
Exactly. They weaponized that to be opposite of what his intent would be. There we go. 242 U.S. Code 192. The Chief of Bureaus, Investigations and Reports. After that, I can't read it.
Children's Bureau shall be under the direction of a chief to be appointed by the president and with the advice and the consent of the Senate. The said bureau shall investigate and report the Secretary of Health and Human Services upon all matters pertaining to the welfare of children and child life among all classes of our people, and shall especially investigate the questions of infant mortality, the birth rate, orphanage, juvenile courts, desertion, dangerous occupations, accidents and diseases of children, employment legislation affecting the children in several states and territories. But no official or agent or representative of said bureau shall, over the objection of the head of the family, enter any house used exclusively as a family residence. The chief of said bureau may from time to time publish the results of these investigations in such manner and to such extent as may be prescribed by the secretary.
Dude, that's awesome. And again, there's so much there, guys. Even I understand there's now vaccine family group nonprofit now suing the American Pediatrics for the falseness of their reports of their vaccine schedules. So shit is starting to fucking rock and roll. And that's huge because, again, another wording in there to me was, again, Congress gave the authority for them to walk into a group setting because it was always about evaluating group homes, we'll say, for the disabled in the early 90s. There was a big emphasis on that. Then I think they were able to morph it. The states were able to morph it to, well, we could pretty much intrude to any family home and we'll call it within the best interest of the child. And again, it's just so crazy because there's so much going through my head. I've heard of parents having to exchange passwords on their Facebook, social media. I've heard of crap that they have no right to even be doing to you.
Right.
Like Cindy's kids wearing a printed name on the leggings. And again, it's like when I called a teacher a troll. Again, how bad is that? How much of a bad word can I say in front of my child? According to kids, they got the little troll, little, happy things. So unless you're up on the subliminal messages, how the word troll is being used could be two ways to a kid. It could be the happy good thing because that's what they turn trolls now into, or it could be when I grew up, the troll was that little monster that lived up underneath the bridge and just grabbed kids.
Yeah.
And yes, that's what I was calling the teacher.
Teacher, you're a teacher's pet.
Sorry, not the teacher. He was like the head principal of this segregated school that segregates 700 kids with autism, and yet they call that community education.
Yes.
Where's the peer mentors? Where's the peer activities? Where's the peer social groups? Where's the peer anything for these kids to be able to participate with a typical person? If they can't participate with typical people, it's called segregation and isolation. So again, when you apply this to your DCF little camps, I'm saying to you, they're all victims of the system. Let it be that they're being charged with they were abused or sexually molested, or so these kids are all got problems. Even unhoused kids they put in this home. So again, they all got one common factor: they're kids that are missing their parents. And again, the government cannot be doing these institutional settings. I wouldn't even go to these institutional settings for family reunification. It's not a natural setting, guys.
No, you need to be in a place that's not needs to be a natural setting, not a fucking hallway room and all of that stuff. None of
An
that
activity
stuff.
that the family normally did, like let's just say go to the movies. You can meet out half hour before the movie starts and then go catch a movie for a couple hours together. And again, sorry, state employee, you got to make the time.
Yep.
Because that's another bullshit. And then when it says up of you know, you don't have a ride, because remember that case a couple of months ago that they said because she doesn't have a ride to get to the DCF place. Sorry, DCF. We do medical appointments for people. We give them dial a ride. So again, go ahead. It's your medical treatment service. Go ahead and you provide the dial a ride through your service. People got to start thinking outside the box. What applies to one applies to all. If one Title II entity is giving it as a service, then that entity should be giving it as a service, because you're looking at the state as a whole program.
Yep. Whole damn thing. Well, Henry, what do you think here? Give me a couple minutes here in between doing Sam's, getting ready for Sam. How do you feel about this? We can air her off.
Hey, man, as long as you got something banging to get us out of here, I mean, great. It's all good.
You want a little banging? I
want something a little hardcore tonight, and bring me backstage and we'll listen to Sam.
All right, let's see here. What do we got?
But anyway, I hope everyone had a good night tonight. Please, everyone, do not freeze. Some way or another, we'll get a shows going, because if one's out, another one can cover each other. We'll keep our stuff going, and no one get desperate here. Where things are changing, to stay with it. We don't know when it's going to happen. Things take time when you're collapsing a system, and it's going to be rebuilt in the correct way. Trust me on this, because I'm hearing too many people coming back to me saying there's a lot of people who have had enough. This industry is going down.
The only correct way is to make sure that it's done by the people themselves. No government involvement with our children anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, man. That's it. Once we do that,
it should have never been. It's a local problem. When I say a local problem, meaning from the town hall to your town church to your town school system, even to your town doctor, it should not be handled within the court system at all. You should be appointing, sort of like you have a prime directive. When you have a child, you appoint the two guardians that are going to be, in case shit doesn't work out, then they're going to make the decisions if the parents don't decide, because they know the family dynamics, they know the relationship, and more than likely they'll be involved as the child's growing up. And if not, you can always amend to get new people in your life. If you were to move. Hey guys, thanks Darren for coming in and saving my ass the last 45.
Wait, we can't use that one. We can't do that one.
We'll see you guys soon. Next week.
We'll see. Hold on. We got to do better than that. We got to watch this. We got to do better than that one. Let's see. Try this one. There we go. All right.
Peace out, brother. Peace out, all my
Be true to
friends.
Sam.
Everybody be safe this week. It's going to be one lousy week.
I was laying on the bottom feeling sad, thinking about doing bad things, raging fucking mad. I couldn't understand why I was chosen. Then it led to my rage and explosion. I am the one who can make this better. It's my job to make things right. I need to pick myself up. It's time for my biggest fight. Wrap your kids in the Bible. Wrap your kids in the flag. CPS is from the devil. Y'all know that it's a fact. I'm a father that went to jail. I cherish my daughter. It was nothing when they come for her and me. There should have been a slaughter. Stand with us. Make parenting great again. Abolish CPS. Ambush with the black SUVs. They come armed. They came for me and they came for her. Stand with us. Make parenting great again. Abolish CPS. They took her from me. She's across the state. Gone for a year now. Taken away. All these people who have written me off. I'm here to show my face and tell you you're wrong. I never was as good as you. And for the record, we know that's not true. I'm not trying for a comparison. How dare you, you're embarrassing. I don't wanna be as good as anyone else. I fight this battle, I fight for myself. I am the one who can make this better. It's my job to make things right. I need to pick myself up. It's time for my biggest fight. I don't care about your judgment, I'm glad you gave us this test. But when your life is over, will your heart sleep quietly in your chest? I've got more life to live. As a matter of fact, it's just beginning. I've been given a challenge and my daughter is waiting. It's a fight I can't walk away from, a new life we are creating. So why you sit there mouth full of hating? Be sure my mind is planning on invading. I've got a war to fight and I'm on mom. I won't give up, I need to win, this is bigger than you. I don't expect you to understand. I am the one who can start over. It's my job to make things right. I need to pick myself up. It's time for the biggest fight. I won't be left behind. This is the time, I call it mine. Step out of the way unless you wanna play. Trump, stand with us. Make parenting great again. Abolish CPS. There is no time for bickering. The clocks are flickering. Pick up your weapon and join me. If not, go back to ignoring me. I will be on top. Pistol going pop, pop. Money falling from my pockets. You'll still be lying on dockets. So fuck you.
They said don't fight the system. They said stay quiet.
They were wrong. Lock in. We are exposing what so many have failed to. We are gonna show you what bar attorneys have hidden from all of us. Hundreds of thousands of children and twice that of parents have been lied to and walked down the road of termination. It's the death penalty. We're all of the protesters, the ones who fight for the rights of prisoners, dogs, illegal immigrants. Why aren't you coming to the aid of our children and families? Right here in America, every day a child per minute is kidnapped. And no one cares. We fight alone until today. CPS punishers mount up. Here comes the CPS Punisher. Anonymous tip, another lie from one of them. No warrant, no proof, just a badge and a grin. Stealing kids like trophies, thinking they'll win. Mama crying on the porch, daddy in the cage. System wrote the script, but the CPS Punisher just flipped the page. The educator they banned, I see every violation, every forged line, every ex-part hearing, every stolen time. One tap of the app and the truth ignites. Welcome to the CPS Punisher, now we can fight. CPS and the courts have lied to us all. The courts will not disgrace the family. CPS Punisher, here to avoid the chains and expose the game. CPS Punisher, the educator they never wanted you to find. Punisher, one tap and their empire cracks. We rise, we take our kids back. The app is called the CPS Punisher.
in the shadows, a skull in the night. The binder full of secrets and weapons you all need. Ab initio, watch me void that lie. Fourth Amendment armor, watch the tyrants cry. Falsified drug test gone in a flash. I see Tevio, warrior, due process king. Every parent's hero when the hotline rings. I call it justice. Download the truth, now the system busts us. From the courtroom to the streets, hear the battle cry. The CPS punishers arrive. Kiss your bar asses goodbye. They tried to silence us. Now we're the loudest voice in the room.
CPS Punisher.
Here to avoid the chains and expose the game.
CPS Punisher.
The educator they never wanted you to find.
Born as her.
The children never leave again. Families rise, we never look back. We now use the CPS Punisher. This ain't revenge. This is reunification. This ain't rage. This is resurrection. Open the app. Step into the fight. You ready?
CPS Punisher.
The app you need when they took your kid.
CPS Punisher.
The truth they hid, now the truth gets lit.
Born as her.
Download the power, take back the throne.
Punisher.
You're never alone. CPS Punisher. The educator they never wanted you to find. Void complete. Family restored. The bar is finished. The Constitution will prevail. Judges do what's right. Treason is your penalty. Here comes the CPS Punisher.
Imagine being a child who has been torn away from their security blanket, their parents, the ones who stopped the boogeyman from terrorizing the nights and curing their boo-boos when they scrape their knees. Now just imagine how they mightest feel when the CPS meant to protect them tears them away from their supposed abusers and places them with strangers who have zero comforting skills. They need to be calm. They are confused, lost, panicked, and needing their parents, but CPS took them away for the purpose of saving them. The kids don't even know why, and they are told that the parents they attach to no longer want them. What do you think that does? Do you think that this is how protecting children is supposed to look?